Diddy's trial just wrapped up day 2, and baby, things is looking real ugly for him. Court papers show that Diddy was grilled on why he fronted like that video of him beating Cassie was fake. At first, Diddy came clean, admitted it was real, and even hit the internet with an apology. But just a week before trial, his lawyers tried to switch it up, filing a motion claiming the video was phony. That right there screams fear. He's scared of what Cassie might spill, and now that she's officially been listed as a witness, whoo, child, it's about to get messy for Mr. Love.
Jury selection is officially underway in the South Tragedy King trial of Sean Diddy Combs. Chloe Malas was in federal court today, and Chloe, no jurors selected, but a pretty revealing start to the 8-week trial.
Lester, that's right. It was an illuminating first day of court. Combs entered the courtroom wearing a crew neck sweater and a white button-down shirt. He had some gray in his hair and in his goatee. And at one point, he told the judge that he needed to use the bathroom and that he was feeling a little bit nervous. Now, also, several celebrities were named today, although they haven't been accused of any wrongdoing. They might be mentioned during the course of the trial. Their names are Michael B. Jordan, Mike Myers, Kanye West, and his former girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, who has accused him of years of physical and emotional abuse. And she is expected to testify during the trial. Now, Combs has vehemently denied all of the allegations against him. I also want to point out that celebrity attorney Mark Garagos, he was present in the courtroom. His daughter is Tenny Garagos, one of the lead attorneys for Combs throughout this trial. Now, a source telling NBC News that he hasn't joined the team, but he is advising on jury selection.
This whole circus kicked off with that sick video of Diddy laying hands on Cassie. And now it's looking like that same footage gonna be the thing that puts him behind bars. His legal squad is out here working overtime to get it scrubbed off the internet because they know how damaging it is.
Combs wants that video or videos excluded from trial. And for that, we turn to his motion in limine to exclude video footage of that March 5th, 2016 incident. Motion in limine is a pretrial motion that aims at preventing evidence from coming into trial or limiting it in some way. And it starts by saying, quote, "There is no longer any dispute that the CNN footage from March 5th, 2016 at the Intercontinental Hotel offered by the government at 3 separate bail hearings is wholly inaccurate, having been altered, manipulated, sped up, and edited to be out of sequence. As indicated below, CNN paid Redacted, don't know who this person is, Redacted, for footage, copied that footage in unknown ways, presented that footage out of order, and destroyed the original. Accordingly, all the footage from CNN is inaccurate and inadmissible. As for the 2 items of footage filmed by an iPhone 6, those pieces of footage are inaccurate and admissible as well for the reasons set out below."
Before that bombshell footage dropped, Diddy's lawyers were calling Cassie a liar and acting like she was trying to set him up. But once that tape hit the net and went viral, Diddy jumped on Instagram, gave one of them weak PR-ass apologies, saying he was ashamed and taking full accountability. But guess what? Another lie. He started stalking Cassie again just days after scrubbing the apology.
It's so difficult to reflect on the darkest times in your life, but sometimes you gotta do that. I was fucked up. I hit rock bottom. But I made no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video. I'm disgusted. I was disgusted then when I did it. I'm disgusted now. I went and I sought out professional help. Now they're going to therapy, they're going to rehab. Had to ask God for his mercy and grace. I'm so sorry. But I'm committed to be a better man each and every day. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm truly sorry.
Even though lawyers done confirmed the tape is court-approved and admissible, Diddy's still crying to get it banned. His legal team filed a motion saying not just the Cassie video, but everything from that raid on Diddy's mansion should be thrown out. They claiming the warrants were too broad, and so the FBI's whole stash should be tossed.
Combs' request from the court is to hold a hearing. And at this hearing, Combs explains that his team wants to call a forensic video analysis named Connor McCourt to show that this video evidence is inaccurate. Sean Combs' defense team argues the videos are unreliable, that they would unfairly confuse and mislead the jury, that they would be more prejudicial to Combs than it would provide any kind of relevant or probative value for the prosecution's case. They write, quote, "If a picture is worth 1,000 words, a video is worth a number well over the court's word limit." Again, the basic argument from Combs and his team is that CNN heavily and deceptively edited the video and turned about 10.5 minutes of footage into a 48-second, quote, out-of-order clip that ended with Combs appearing to drag redacted, again, we believe that to be Cassandra Ventura, to a hotel room. And they argue that this painted the rapper and the music mogul in the worst possible light for the world to see. And as they previously incorrectly mentioned, prosecutors relied on this tape in prior bail hearings to support their argument that Combs shouldn't be released pre-trial.
Every last person who helped Diddy hide his dirty work, especially them hotel workers he paid off, they deserve a one-way trip to jail too. Ain't no way Diddy would have gotten away with all this madness if folks hadn't been helping him sweep it under the rug. And let's not forget the celebrities who partied it up at his spots and saw all kinds of foul stuff, but chose to keep their mouths shut. They just as guilty.
Now to Sean Diddy Combs, looking to suppress evidence in his federal trial. Senior investigative correspondent Aaron Katersky is back with the story. Good morning again, Aaron.
And to you, Michael. You'll remember federal agents from Homeland Security investigations were hardly shy when they raided Sean Combs' opulent homes in Los Angeles and Miami, guns drawn. The jailed music mogul now argues those searches and other searches of his iCloud accounts, electronic devices, and New York City hotel room following his arrest were unconstitutional. His lawyers argue evidence obtained through those searches must be suppressed. Diddy's lawyers say the government presented a grossly distorted picture of reality when applying for the search warrants, omitting certain facts and including salacious details from an unnamed producer that were never credible. Combs has pleaded not guilty to racketeering, conspiracy, sex trafficking, and prostitution charges. The defense is also arguing here his ex-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, was a willing participant in drug-fueled sex performances called freak-offs, not coerced, as prosecutors allege. This latest challenge to his case comes 3 months before trial, and as Combs loses one of his attorneys, Anthony Rico says under no circumstances can he continue to represent Combs. He offered no details about that decision, Robin.
Okay. All right. Thanks to you, Aaron.
All this drama been brewing for years. Back in 2018, Jonathan Audie, who called himself Diddy's sex slave, told everybody Diddy was out here pimping Cassie to other dudes, but folks brushed him off like he was crazy.
When I looked at that thing, to be honest, I thought that the people who was watching it, because you know at those hotels, they have security personnel that watch that stuff. And if they didn't call the police, they should be in jail. I don't care what nobody say. You know, whoever watched that tape and didn't submit that to the authorities, they should be brought up on charges.
Why do you think the video is barely coming out right now? Because you got a lot of people, you know, that's wondering why it took so long.
First of all, they know that Puff probably paid the security personnel because he knew it was on camera. When he made it to the hallway, when she made it to that phone, once that phone picked up, that's going straight to security. That's for emergency purposes only. So either the concierge or somebody that's handling emergency type situations when she picked up that phone. So now, Puff probably had somebody pay them off. 9 times out of 10, he had somebody pay them off, bro.
At one point, the feds even gave Diddy a golden ticket to snitch. Court docs say they offered him a deal loan up to the charges and dropped names of the other heavy hitters in his little crime circle. But Diddy was like, nah, he'd rather roll the dice in court than turn on his people.
Diddy and Ross, which are good buddies, okay? They're gay. Who? Both. Diddy and Ross. And Khaled. They all gay.
DJ Khaled, Rick Rod, and P. Diddy, they all gay? Got it.
Khaled is a Hamas supporter.
Oh, is a who supporter?
Hamas.
Yeah.
Sorry, I said it wrong.
No, Hamas
supporter. I had sex with Cassie and Sean. Basically, he would masturbate, tell me what to do with Cassie. I had like 15 encounters, and I heard a lot.
Well, hidden in plain sight.
It's in.
I think I see what you're saying.
Okay, how do I know this?
Yeah, that's what I want to know. How do you know this?
Do you know Sean Combs?
Jury selection in full swing now. Judge brought in a crew of 35 possible jurors on Monday and Tuesday. They gonna add 10 more to the mix, bringing the total to 45 ready to sit through this wild 2-month saga. Inside the courtroom, folks being asked if they can even handle watching Diddy's freak-off tapes. Those videos, they might drag a lot of big names down with him.
The last hearing before Sean Combs' trial starts, when he walked into federal court today, he appeared to be looking for his family. They've pretty much been at all of the hearings that I've been to, but there was no presence of his sons or his mother or his sister who had previously been at those hearings. So here's what came out of today's hearing. Number one, the government acknowledged that they offered Combs a plea deal. Combs acknowledged he has no interest in taking that. They're going to move forward with the trial. They also talked about the jury selection process, which one legal expert I spoke to said is probably the most important thing that you want to pay close attention to before the actual trial starts. And thirdly, we learned that Combs will be adding 2 new attorneys to his defense team. And just to recap, Combs, who is 55 years old, could spend the rest of his life behind bars if convicted on sex trafficking and racketeering. He has pleaded not guilty to all charges.
Major developments tonight involving the case against Sean Diddy Combs, what he decided in court today, and what this now means, the move coming just 4 days before his trial is set to begin. Here's Aaron Katursky.
Tonight, Sean Combs makes it official. He's rejecting the government's offer to plead guilty and spare himself the possibility of a prolonged term in prison. When asked if he turned down the offer, Combs answered, "Yes, I do, Your Honor," as he stood in a baggy beige jail uniform. Terms were not disclosed, but prosecutors did say a plea could result in a shorter sentence for Combs than if he's convicted. The decision guarantees Combs will face trial beginning just 4 days from now that will test whether one of music's most prolific figures used his power, wealth, and fame to sexually exploit both women and men for decades. Combs has pleaded not guilty to racketeering conspiracy, sex, and transportation to engage in prostitution charges that accused him of coercing alleged victims into prolonged, drug-fueled sexual activity that he called freak-offs and threatening them into silence.
According to Diddy's legal team, them tapes will be played in court. The feds scooped him up last year from his mansion in Miami. Word is there's hundreds of hours worth of footage. The FBI still trying to decrypt it all. Prosecutors probably ain't even gonna need all of it, just enough to make folks sweat and get witnesses talking.
The other thing I wanted to ask you that I found fascinating is that Diddy reportedly yesterday asked that judge for a bathroom break, telling the judge, "I'm sorry, Your Honor, I'm a little nervous today." Were you surprised that he admitted that? And what do you think that reveals about him ahead of opening statements?
I'm so glad you brought that up. Look, I've said it before, I'll say it again. The fact that we are going to trial in under a year from when a defendant is arrested and indicted at the federal level doesn't happen. But Combs has been pushing towards this trial date. He doesn't want to spend one more day behind in federal lockup. Having said that, you're now at this case, and the government, this is the Southern District of New York, they don't move forward with the case unless they feel they have the goods. He's looking at not only life in prison, and the maximum charge, but potentially decades in prison. The third charge that he's facing, transportation to engage in prostitution, that can carry 10 years in prison, and some argue that's the most straightforward charge to actually convict him on. So I think he's feeling the weight of what's happening. Jury selection, a panel of his peers coming in to decide his fate. It is real right now for him.
Of course, they're all going to know who Sean Combs is, but they're going to need to find jurors who, despite the fact that they are familiar with Diddy, they still can be fair.
Prosecutors say Combs turned his significant business interests into a criminal enterprise to plan elaborate sex parties, including drug-fueled marathons where women were coerced into sex and then threatened if they didn't keep quiet. The jury pool filling out a 17-page questionnaire, answering questions about their impartiality amid warnings the evidence is graphic and sexually explicit.
The judge has drilled down on some of those questions that they answered in the questionnaire to see whether or not they had any issues to serving in this trial.
Most of the folks who agreed to testify did so anonymously. And let's keep it real. It's because they know they caught up on them tapes. Prosecutors claim they already talked to hundreds of people before feeling confident enough to go to trial. And Chiley, the Southern District of New York don't play. That DA got a 97% conviction rate. Diddy's lawyers know they in a tight spot.
The jury sits. Will they be shown these tapes?
100%.
Will they have to watch it in court?
100% in court in front of a room of people. And so that's the other thing that's awful. They are going to be watching basically porn for hours on end in front of people. So in front of victim one, whoever it may be, there's going to be played in the federal courtroom.
And victim one would have been made aware of this.
Oh, 100%. She's probably being told right now, this is going to be played in open court. Your sex history, your sex life is going to be talked about in open court. All of this.
And presumably then she knows that and she's pushing forward because she hasn't withdrawn.
But don't forget this. It doesn't matter if she does or she doesn't. This isn't a civil case. This is the criminal case. So she could flat out tell the federal government, I don't want to participate, and they can say, we don't care. This is a crime. Crimes are against the United States, not against them. Keep calling her victim one, but don't forget, she's a witness to a crime. So it doesn't matter if she went to them in today and said, I'm not participating. Their response, we don't care. Get your ass on the stand.
And then there's Cassie. She the only one stepping forward with her real name and standing 10 toes down. Diddy barely got a shot at freedom if she gets up there and spills what she saw over them 11 years.
The allegations implicate dozens of unidentified witnesses and alleged co-conspirators around the world, and some of the key witnesses to the supposed incidents are dead, basically meaning how can we defend against it? The defense is not even permitted to share the identities of the individuals described in the disclosure letter with Mr. Combs until April 18th, further hampering defense counsel's ability to investigate. Collectively, these new allegations require many months, if not years, to investigate, and if admitted, would require a series of mini trials, certain to double the length of a trial the government originally said would last 3 weeks. So this is an explosive allegation that on its face, I don't know if I necessarily disagree with. If they are bringing in evidence of uncharged conduct, wouldn't the defense have an opportunity to investigate it and challenge it? It seems like they're making a point. So if this evidence is allowed in, there is a chance this could delay the trial significantly. We all know Combs wants to go to trial, but how can he properly defend himself against this in just a few weeks?
Even Diddy's own lawyer's trying to run for the hills now. That case stacking up too high and the receipts too thick. They know this ain't one they can finesse. After the federal case hit, Diddy's law firm, Grubman, Shire, Marcellus, and Sachs, who've been riding with him for more than 20 years, straight up dropped him. They ain't trying to sink with that ship.
All right, Cassie. She plans to testify against Diddy at the trial, and she's going to use her name. So a lot of the women who have accused Diddy are anonymous. They're Jane Doe or Victim One.
John Doe's.
Or John Doe's. But Cassie apparently is going to take the stand and talk about obviously that tape of him beating her up at the hotel is what set off this whole thing. You know what I mean? Like, this has just made it matters so bad for Diddy. So now that she is gonna sit up there and like look him square in the eyes and talk about her side of the story, that's not great for Diddy, obviously.
No, and like I think also Cassie is a celebrity, right? Like millennials know who she was or is. She had like a booming career back in the day. So I think it also adds some extra zhuzh when you have like a well-known public figure coming forward.
Trusted public figure.
Trusted and beloved.
Yeah.
Too. So I think that also will hurt him. She, of course, became public. All of this went public when that video came out from CNN. So it's been revealed who she is already. And now she is not looking to conceal her name. She wants to, put it all out on the table. And yeah, yikes, it could be really bad for him.
Now the team left behind trying to hit the court with the old he was too drunk to know better routine. Basically saying Diddy was so turned off booze and drugs, he ain't realized he was doing wrong. They filed a request on April 27th claiming his mental state was messed up from all the substances. If that gets approved, Diddy might just walk free on a technicality.
Sean Diddy Combs' legal team is getting a little smaller. As the rap mogul's defense team prepares for his May trial on sex trafficking charges, his attorney Anthony Rico respectfully but regrettably requested to be dismissed from his role, according to documents obtained by NBC News. Rico, who is one of 6